If you've ever been on Stan Twitter, like ever, you will know that Stans are obsessed with the charting and sales of their faves' music. From using it to win arguments, to evoking it as a defence to any criticism, having a successful album or two that sold well is often viewed by stans as a bit of an ace in the online space, to be pulled out whenever and for whatever. And so, when artists release new music or projects, stans will often do everything in their capacity to help ensure that their artist's new work is a success, not only because they like the artist, but also to give them that ammunition for whenever the next Stan Twitter beef arises. From putting up posters to getting hashtags trending, stans use a number of methods to help promote their artist. But over the years, one group of stans in particular has gained notoriety for their less than conventional fan promotional attempts. Fans of Lady Gaga, the Little Monsters. Here's a deep dive into the slightly odd and often unhinged fan promotion tactics of the Little Monsters that they have adopted over the years and the many Gaga eras. Now, disclaimer, I cannot emphasise enough that these fan promo campaigns that I mention in this video were organised and carried out by fans. They have no connection to, nor endorsement from, Lady Gaga herself or any of her team. Furthermore, these fan promo operations, regardless of how grand or publicised, had little impact on the actual chart positions and sales. For example, Shallow did not go #1 because a few people were tricked into streaming it on Spotify. Think of these fan campaigns more as extracurricular activities for the Little Monsters, largely for their own enjoyment and sense of community. Additionally, although Little Monsters are probably the most creative when promoting their favourite artist, most, if not all, fan groups have their own operations to promote their fave in some way. So when comparing artist to artist, it all sort of cancels out in the end. This video is not, nor should it be, interpreted as attempting to undermine, criticise or refute Lady Gaga's person, success or talent. She's the Lady Gaga, for God's sake. Finally, this video should not be taken as an endorsement or encouragement of these actions. For this video, I will be mainly focusing on the non-conventional promotion methods that the Little Monsters have adopted, or perhaps invented, although poster-like tactics may get a mention if they are unique enough. Additionally, this video will go chronologically through most Gaga eras, starting with Applause, as prior to Applause, fan-related activities are fairly undocumented and unarchived, with many sites from the time no longer existing, like we are talking MySpace here. And from what archived fan sites and forums I could find, it was all seemingly in the usual fan promo veins of posters and placards anyways. And so we begin with Applause. On the 12th of July 2013, Lady Gaga updated her Facebook page announcing that on the 19th of August, the lead single from her new album ARTPOP would be released. The single was titled Applause. Now, in order to understand the magnitude and significance of the ARTPOP era Little Monster promo, you need some crucial context. In August of 2013, the greatest war to ever take place in the entirety of human history occurred, leaving nothing but destruction and despair in its wake. Raw versus Applause. I'm not going to go too much into the whole media frenzy of Raw versus Applause, as I think it warrants a video on its own, but in short, a week before Applause was to be released, leaks of the song began to appear online. Because of this, Gaga released the song immediately on the 12th of August, which was only 2 days after Katy Perry had released Raw, the lead single from her upcoming album, Prism. This led to a media frenzy and a fandom war, Applause v Raw, Gaga v Perry, that in my opinion was the birth/foundation of the Stan Twitter that we know of today, especially because, just like in the present day, while the fans were fighting, the artists themselves were not. With both singles being released at similar times, and both groups of fans wanting their respective fave to get their lead single to that coveted #1 spot on the Billboard charts, the Little Monsters fan promo campaign began, as did the Katy Catses, but this video is about the Little Monsters. So, the Little Monsters did adopt the usual fan tactics commonly used, such as putting up posters and covering the devices at the Apple Store with the new song. However, for the release, with the new Raw competition for #1, some Little Monsters seemingly decided to up the ante. Up it by a lot. On the 14th of August, shortly after the song's release, an interesting post was shared to the classified advertisement site Craigslist. The post read, "Offering for Applause, M for M, 21, Los Angeles. I am offering that will make you go gaga if you show me proof that you have purchased Lady Gaga's new single Applause on iTunes. Please send picture and proof of purchase in the first email. I look forward to hearing your applause for my performance for you. This extremely questionable attempt to garner extra sales wasn't the only monstrosity, that's a pun, of its kind, with another similar little monster offering a similar deal in Florida. Due to the interesting, or spicy, isn't that what you're all calling it now, nature of the fan movement, it garnered the attention of online news/news-ish outlets who were eager to cover the story because it truly is bizarre, at least to those outside of the little monster space. Many publications covering the Craigslist post linked the risque, or just plain risky, fan activity to the fact that Lady Gaga had said that the two fans with the most applause purchases/gifts/radio requests/applause selfies would be flown out to London to watch her performance at the iTunes Festival. How accurate the linking of this competition to the Craigslist offer is impossible to know. However, something that I did notice is that both ads required proof of purchase prior to the activity, which suggests to me that the offer really wasn't on the table and was instead just a ploy to get the type of people that would be interested in such a Craigslist encounter to purchase the song and then would be subsequently ghosted. Ethical? Probably not. An iconic moment in Little Monster stan history? Absolutely. Fans also did some more targeted advertisement by sending messages to people about Applause and its release via a particular social media network that is likely to have a large Gaga-loving demographic. Despite their truly innovative promo/buy-in attempts, the Applause v Raw moment kind of concluded with Raw reaching number 1 on the Hot 100, while Applause number 4. And I say kinda because Glee tried to rehash the moment a few months later in one of their episodes. Anyways, Applause's Billboard chart placement did disappoint some little monsters who had been avidly buying the song, and to those little monsters, it was quite the blow. Art Pop. Following the release of Applause and its fan antics, the album Art Pop was later released on the 6th of November 2013. Many little monsters again did the usual tactics, putting up posters etc, with some even putting them on the rear view window of their car, aka the Gaga-mobile. However, potential highway code violations aside, many fans, perhaps inspired by the eccentric experimental nature of the album itself, continued their unhinged promo scheme that they had begun for Applause. The music-adjacent harlotry, once again, reared its ugly head. At Lady Gaga, I am charging $80 to get so I can buy 7 copies of #ArtPop. At this point I don't even know what I'm supposed to be blurring or covering, so everything's blurred. I'm sure enough people are buying her album, no reason to sell yourself. It's selling under 300k, the Madonna fans are gonna laugh at us. There was also a post that was being shared around on social media that claimed 2 little monsters had broken into the BBC and had managed to get into the BBC newsroom in order to promote ARTPOP on the news, and were then subsequently arrested. This post was shared around by many Gaga fans at the time, however this didn't happen, and the image was actually taken on a public tour of the BBC News broadcasting house, which has a section where the public can sit in the newsroom and can see themselves on a screen. However, despite being fake and the story not checking out, the post and image did gain some attention online because the thought of 2 fans breaking into the newsroom of the BBC live on air to promote ARTPOP is very amusing, and therefore the fake story did in fact promote ARTPOP. But why dedicate time to promoting ARTPOP at all when you can promote it all the time with it being your name? One iconic, yet perhaps now regretful, little monster legally changed their name to incorporate ARTPOP by adopting it as a middle name and even shared the court documents to prove it. This name change actually took place over a year after ARTPOP's release, so the likelihood of it being for promotional purposes is unlikely, and it is most probably rather just a personal tribute to the album. But I just couldn't leave it out of this video. ARTPOP debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and is now certified platinum. Despite this, the album is considered by some Gaga fans to be underrated and has a dedicated cult following within the fandom that continue to advocate for the album even a decade after its release, as you will see later in this video. In my opinion, the ARTPOP era was the dawn of a new age of unhinged fan promo attempts from the Little Monsters. Perfect Illusion. On the 17th of August 2016, almost 3 years post ARTPOP, Lady Gaga announced that Perfect Illusion, the lead single for her then upcoming album Joanne, would be released on the 9th of September. With the excitement of new Gaga music on the horizon, the Little Monsters soon began scheming and coming up with a plan of action to promote the new single to maximise its chart performance and sales. Now, for some crucial context, in the US, the main chart for singles is the Billboard Hot 100, and the placements on the Hot 100 are calculated using data from 3 areas: streaming, sales and radio play. The exact weighting and formula used to calculate the charts from these 3 areas is sort of unknown, and from my understanding it is altered every year as the world's listening mediums change. And so, in 2016, the Little Monsters couldn't ignore the radio if they wanted Perfect Illusion to do well on the charts. But, obviously, unlike streaming and sales, there is very little a stan themselves can actually do to ensure a song is played on the radio. It is common for stans to mass request a song to be played on different radio stations, but the jury is out on its effectiveness, usually because a radio's target/usual audience isn't dedicated stan groups, and so, for Perfect Illusion, the Little Monsters decided to take a slightly different approach. On the 5th of September 2016, 4 days before the song's release, in a discussion post about Perfect Illusion on the internet forum ATRL, the user SpinNatch posted the following comment: "OK Hunties, you better also be ready to request the song via Twitter. If you have a stan Twitter, don't request using it. Radio hosts hate homosexuals and stan Twitters, it's a fact. Make an account with a soccer mum selfie avatar, make your username something like I love my kids 123, and write a bio about how you have 3 kids and a husband. Then write a tweet like @radio station, aha, my kids love this new Gaga song, driving me mad on the way to work, play it please. Trick the radio hosts into thinking the GP loves it." Users quickly began to share the ads of their fake Twitter soccer mum personas for other fans to follow, and some even created backstory for these fictitious maternal football figures. That same day, a post about the soccer mum movement was shared to Gaga Daily, a forum dedicated to Lady Gaga. The post was shared by the user Creyk, or Creyk, and although the post was mainly the same as the ATRL one, this Gaga Daily post added some additional suggestions. If you have qualms about using someone's picture and impersonating them on Twitter, use a stock photo of a middle-aged woman/man. This way it's completely legal and you can't get in trouble for it, but you will be helping radio DJs all over the world think that the general public is actually living for the song, therefore playing it more often. And although the scheme seemingly originated on ATRL, the post on Gaga Daily soon became the hub for the Soccer Mum Perfect Illusion initiative, and these soccer mums soon got to work. As this was several days prior to the song's release, the Little Monsters created their fake soccer mum accounts and began to set the scene for their subsequent radio request operations by fleshing out their characters. These accounts often frequently interacted with each other as if middle-aged friends in order to increase the believability of their characters, and the Gaga Daily thread that spread the initiative soon included a list of 55 Twitter accounts that were Little Monsters in disguise that users could interact with. Many of these interactions highlighted that the accounts were clearly parody, or at the very least, suspicious, but at first glance they probably could appear to be real, say to an intern at a radio station who is scrolling through hundreds of song requests. And although some of these soccer mums did interact with some radio stations and mention the soon-to-be released song, the focus at this point was seemingly on backstory, as they eagerly awaited the big radio requesting day. That was until disaster struck. On the 6th of September, only 1 day after the soccer mum plan was concocted, a BuzzFeed article was published titled "Lady Gaga fans are pretending to be soccer mums on Twitter to con radio stations." The BuzzFeed article explained the Little Monsters plan, sharing the Gaga Daily post as well as some of the soccer mum fake accounts in question. The Little Monsters had officially been rumbled before the plan had even really got underway. The BuzzFeed expose was subsequently shared back on on the Lady Gaga fan forum, with many little monsters being both amused and gagged at their plot having been exposed, especially so quickly, with some fans speculating that there was a Judas amongst them. I couldn't resist. BuzzFeed has recognised us. Which one of you works at BuzzFeed? Expose yourself. After the BuzzFeed article, it became clear, if it wasn't already, that the accounts messaging these radio sites were fake, with Kiss Pittsburgh, a radio station that had received some of these fake soccer mum tweets, actually shared the BuzzFeed article saying, "You don't need to send the fake soccer mum tweets at Lady Gaga fans, you already know we got you. #perfect illusion." After being rumbled both by BuzzFeed and then radio as well, Little Monsters adopted a new strategy, claiming that the plan could still work. The soccer mum troops were then advised to stop making it obvious to not post Gaga stuff until radio requesting, but most importantly, they were advised to think like a mother. And with a new strategy, some of the mums began damage control. Fake mums? That's crazy. I'm such a proud mother and grandmother and can't wait for the new Lady Gaga Perfect Mirage song, Kiss. These fake mums are unbearable. Anyway, me, my husband Tom and my daughter Samantha are excited for Perfect Illusion. Trickery and fraud are not the ways of the Lord. God bless your beautiful family, dear. To little avail. After all the exposing, some radio stations started to play along too. I'm ditching my book club for this. Which sort of wine should I prepare for this occasion? Definitely a rosé. Is there anything else even in consideration? Lol, #mumlife. It's truly amazing how many mums are into the new single, #mumlife. There was also a follow-up BuzzFeed article written by the same news reporter who had exposed the soccer mum hoodwinkery, detailing their experiences online with these fake accounts following the original expose. From accusations of invasions of privacy to petitioning against BuzzFeed, and even by serving fake court summons, the soccer mums, still remaining in character, flooded the reporter's Twitter and email. The news reporter did seem to take this all extremely well, issuing a little tongue-in-cheek apology to these mothers, before then declaring, "After all of this, I pray for one thing. I just really hope the song is good." However, despite the BuzzFeed journalists' fairly light-hearted and being a good sport response to what some people will consider online harassment, there were some people who were involuntarily wrapped up in this fake soccer mum universe who couldn't quite see the funny side of things, and rightly so. It appears that there were some little monsters who didn't take the advice from the master plan Gaga Daily Post and used a real person's image as their fake soccer mum profile picture instead of a stock mother photo. I am aware that people in stock images are also real people, but you know what I mean. Following the virality of the scheme, with it being covered by several news sites who shared the caricatural accounts, there were instances where the real people in the images being used by the fake soccer mum accounts found out that their images were being used online to say genuinely unhinged things, and these people were obviously unhappy. These aren't their pictures, by the way. I've replaced them with actual stock images, as with most of the soccer mums you've seen in this segment. Despite the expose and media coverage, some little monsters in soccer mum disguise continued the charade and did request radio's play Perfect Illusion. However, how successful these requests were, I can't say. The soccer mums were also apparently acknowledged by Madonna in a tweet she made around the time, although it's unclear whether this was a reference to the Little Monster promo or just actual soccer mums, because they do actually exist. The Soccer Mum Perfect Illusion campaign is regarded as an iconic moment in the fandom's history and inspired several future Little Monster promo attempts, as you will see later in the video. Bet you can't wait. And although the soccer mums are the most notorious fan promo attempt from the Perfect Illusion era, it wasn't the only one, as 17 days after the song's release, the second most important historical event to take place that month occurred on the 26th of September 2016, the presidential debate of Trump versus Hillary Clinton. The debate was taking place at the Hofstra University in New York, and the debate was dubbed one of the most important presidential debates ever. 84 million people tuned in to watch the debate, and due to the highly volatile political climate of the US, I would say at the time, all eyes were on Hillary and Trump. Well, not quite all eyes. During the build-up to the debate, crowds formed outside the university, with most holding signs and placards relating to the upcoming debate and election. And I say most because as the cameras panned along the barricade, a sign could very clearly be seen at the forefront of the crowd that reads, "Buy Perfect Illusion on iTunes." A snap of the sign was then shared online by a Lady Gaga fan page, which received over 7,000 likes, and in hindsight, it's nice to see at least one person that year had their priorities straight. Perfect Illusion debuted at number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100 and is certified gold in the US and 2 times platinum in Brazil. The Cure. On the 15th of April 2017, Lady Gaga headlined Coachella, and midway through her set, she performed a previously unheard song titled The Cure, which she later announced would be released as a single immediately after her performance. The song, being a surprise release, obviously had the Little Monsters shook, and although on the back foot, the Little Monsters soon got down to business. Over the days following the single's release, videos started to appear online of people praising the new song.
So my kids lately have been screaming, "Yes, Gaga." And now I know why. It's The Cure.
OMG, the soccer mums are real. Some of these people, alongside complimenting the song, claimed that the new single actually had healing properties, and like its title and lyrics, was actually The Cure. One of these was even a doctor who hailed the alleged remedial properties of the song.
Hi there, I'm Dr. Lisa Marie. Got painful migraines? Perhaps juvenile osteoporosis? Well, whatever it is, I have the cure. Literally. The Cure is the miraculous new single by pop sensation Lady Gaga.
And one even featured a well-known celebrity.
Pop sensation Lady Gaga.
Now, if it wasn't clear from the fact that these videos were shot as if in a hostage situation, these videos weren't as earnest and genuine as they didn't appear. At the time when The Cure was released, there was a popular trend online, particularly on YouTube, where YouTubers could go on a website called Fiverr, where they would then pay various different people, sometimes in costumes, to say, well, whatever they wanted. This trend continued on YouTube for several years with some very mixed results. It appears that the Little Monsters, presumably inspired by the trend, paid people offering these services on Fiverr or similar sites to say that Lady Gaga's new song The Cure was The Cure. Apart from this lady, I don't think she was paid promo. These fake snake oil salesman-esque videos were shared around on social media by Little Monsters, who posted the glowing endorsements and reviews, while also finding the fact that someone would be willing to say on camera that the song had almost homeopathic-like qualities rather amusing. These glowing endorsements were shared so much so, it caught the attention of Lady Gaga herself, who commented on one saying, "I love you," and she quote retweeted the other one, of the mother in both senses of the word, saying, "What is happening? I love her." Alleged medicinal achievements aside, The Cure debuted at number 39 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it Lady Gaga's 20th top 40 hit on the chart, which it remained on for 14 weeks. The Joanne World Tour. In February 2017, following the release of Joanne, the album, and her Super Bowl halftime performance, Lady Gaga announced the Joanne World Tour. However, when Lady Gaga released the tour dates for her World Tour, many Little Monsters found that the World Tour wasn't as world toury as they had hoped for. The majority of the Joanne World Tour dates were in North American cities. There were also several dates across some European countries, as well as a single date in Brazil, and fans quickly realised that there were no dates set for Asia, Africa, or Oceania. There was also none in Antarctica, but you can't exactly do an arena tour in a place with no arenas. It's probably like really cold too. Several posts were shared from Little Monsters living in countries not on the tour list, questioning whether the tour would be extended to include other countries such as Australia. And so, one Australian fan decided to take things into their own hands. Good morning. First, let me introduce myself. I am a representative member of the Joanne World Tour concert organisational team. Part of my responsibilities entail looking into spaces around the world for potential tour dates and legs. Currently, the Joanne World Tour is sold out across arenas in the United States and Europe. We are in the midst of looking into expanding the tour to potentially include areas in Asia and Australia. We emphasise that we are purely in the initial planning stages, but Lady Gaga achieved great success in the past in Australia at your arena. We believe that together we we can once again ensure a great and successful collaboration due to our on-the-ground research and marketing information that we have received, especially after the recent release of Lady Gaga's newest single The Cure, which is currently at number 1 in Australia on iTunes. If possible, we can set up a Skype conference call sometime within the next few weeks between our organising team and the booking team at your arena. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you, the Joanne World Tour organisational team. Now, this email wasn't actually written by the Joanne World Tour organisational team, if there even was a team with such a name, or anyone who worked for Lady Gaga. Instead, the email was allegedly sent by an Australian fan pretending to be a member of Lady Gaga's team. From what I could find, this particular little monster was a member of ATRL, the pop culture forum, and that was where they shared the screenshots of their masquerading email. It appears that the fan was attempting to book the Rod Laver Arena, part of the Melbourne Park in, you guessed it, Melbourne, Australia, which had a capacity of almost 15,000 people. The little monster in Joanne World Tour disguise did allegedly receive a response from the arena team, which read, "Hi Joanne, if you could please let us know what month you are looking at, we can then send you availabilities, thanks." But the conversation didn't end there. From the subsequent screenshots I could find, it appears that the Gaga fan replied indicating the fake Joanne World Tour organisational team were looking at dates in January 2018, as an alleged screenshot from the time shows another response from the employee clarifying that the Australian Open was taking place in January, but late February looked quiet and available. These were the only screenshots I could find, so I'm not sure if the little monster went any further with their attempt to book a fake Lady Gaga tour, and if I'm being honest, I'm not entirely sure how much further they could go. Like, was the end goal here to book the stadium, notify Gaga and her team, and hope she just goes, "Oh, well, seeing as though it's all practically organised, I think I can squeeze it in." Anyways, from what I could find, this was where the correspondence seemed to have ended, and the arena was obviously not booked. And even if it was booked, and Lady Gaga for some reason agreed to do a booking made without her knowledge, it would have been unlikely that the Australian date would have actually gone ahead, as the European leg of the Joanne World Tour had to be rescheduled into January and February due to health reasons, and then the majority of these new February dates were subsequently cancelled again due to these health reasons, and the tour was unfortunately cut short. This tour management impersonation, although not technically a promo moment, is frequently described by Little Monsters as an iconic messy little monster moment, alongside their unhinged promo attempts, so I just couldn't leave it off this list. A Star is Born. In October of 2018, the highly anticipated movie A Star is Born was about to be released, which featured Lady Gaga as the female lead. And as Gaga's first major venture into the acting world, the Little Monsters were prepared to do everything they possibly could to make the movie a success. The movie was released in the US on the 5th of October, however, it wasn't the only major movie that was new to cinema screens that week, as 2 days prior to A Star is Born's release on the 3rd of October, the Marvel movie Venom was released in cinemas. Now, these two movies have, in my opinion, quite different target audiences. Venom is mainly for that superhero-loving demographic, whereas A Star is Born was for those of us with taste. I'm just joking, I've never actually seen Venom, although I think I will. Do I need to watch it to understand Joker 2? But despite the movie's major demographics being different, there would naturally be some people who just wanted to see a movie and would have to choose between the two, Venom or A Star is Born. This was also in a pre-Barbenheimer economy, so the option or knowledge to attempt to manufacture A Star is Venom or a Senum moment wasn't really on the cards, and so the Little Monsters wanted to tip the scales in A Star is Born's favour. I am the biggest Marvel fan, but I just watched #Venom and I don't know what to say. I am the biggest easily Marvel the worst fan, but I just this watched year. I expected so much. Easily the worst movie this year. I expected so much better. Now I'm just disappointed. Tweets began to appear online that were negative reviews of Venom, with many being identical, word for word. Some superhero fans highlighted these repeated exaggerated reviews and referred to them as bots that were trying to promote A Star Is Born. Some of these reviews also parodied and attempted to appeal to those woke movie agenda, all caps, dry YouTube content type of people. You know the ones. Just got back from seeing #Venom in the theatre. So disappointed. Lots of Democrat nonsense, pushing LGBT agenda down our throat too. Disgusted. I can't believe I am saying this, but I might have to take the kids to see #A Star Is Born tomorrow to make up for the terrible night. Very sad. And while we are on the topic of concerned mothers, presumably still running high from the Perfect Illusion soccer mum moment 2 years prior, some little monsters once again, allegedly, adopted the role of mothers. I saw #Venom last night and had to leave halfway through. My children wouldn't stop crying at how bad it was. Luckily, a second pre-screening of #A Star Is Born was about to start and now we were all crying tears of amazement. Please pray for my eldest, he is still in a coma. Saw #Venom with the family tonight. Atrocious movie. We walked out. Theatre manager couldn't get a refund, so he let us into #A Star Is Born. Wow, it was without a doubt the best film I've seen in ages. That rah-rah and sure act up a storm. Although Gaga positively focused, many of these tweets from the mum accounts, similar to the Perfect Illusion soccer mums, had a humorous or exaggerated element which likely indicated that the reviews were not earnest. However, to the average person, the authenticity of the repeated negative reviews would be more ambiguous, especially without the context that the same reviews were being posted by multiple accounts. With it being widely believed that these fake reviews were from little monsters attempting to promote A Star Is Born, some Marvel stans decided to give it a go themselves by copying the tweet but switching the movies. Worst Gaga movie decided to watch Venom. However, around the time these alleged Little Monster fake Venom reviews were going around, I did find claims that these anti-Venom tweets weren't actually from Little Monsters but were instead from DC fans who were attempting to pin their trolling on Gaga fans. How much truth there is in that, I do not know, but I think with the Little Monsters track record for Twitter cosplay, it does seem likely to have been them. Additionally, the A Star Is Born vs Venom Twitter saga was covered by several news sites, and in one article by BuzzFeed, they received comments from two Little Monsters about the situation. In regard to their repeated negative reviews, one Gaga account claimed that it was a joke between two of their mutuals who would often steal each other's tweets, and although they were a Gaga fan, the choice of tweet about Venom was unrelated and was just trolling. However, in the same article, BuzzFeed spoke to another account who alleged that the tweets were a coordinated effort amongst some Little Monsters who adopted the fake personas to criticise the Venom movie as they wanted more audience for A Star Is Born. So, in my opinion, although some tweets may have been trolling between friends, many of these tweets were likely another one of the Little Monsters' elaborate and unhinged promo attempts. A Star Is Born went on to gross over $430 million globally on a $36 million budget, and Venom grossed over $850 million on a $110 million budget. A Star Is Born also earned Lady Gaga her second and third Oscar nominations. Shallow. Following A Star Is Born's release, the movie received critical acclaim, with many praising the movie's soundtrack, which featured many songs sung by Gaga, with a focus being on the song Shallow, which was arguably the main song in the movie. Shallow began to gain momentum over the months following the film, and then in late February 2019, spurred on by its Oscar nomination, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper performed the hit song live at the Oscars, where it subsequently would win for Best Original Song. Following the Oscars performance, the song received a huge boost in sales and streams, so much so that there was a chance that the song could reach #1 on the charts, which it hadn't previously done on its initial release. And so, the Little Monsters sprung into action again. Despite A Star Is Born being a new venture for Lady Gaga herself and a new direction from her earlier music work, the Little Monsters still had some of that art pop energy left in them, as fans created the Twitter movement #out for Shallow. In a similar sort of vein as the Craigslist advertising, some fans bargained that if Shallow reached #1 on the Billboard chart, they would post or send intimate images of themselves in an attempt to convince their followers to stream and buy the song. In the end, Shallow did end up getting that #1 spot. However, I am unsure how many of those that were part of the Twitter movement actually followed through with their deal. And although perhaps being the most exciting fan promo attempt for the Little Monsters Monsters in this era, the cheeky Twitter campaign wasn't the most infamous Shallow-related promo organised by the fans, with Shallow Books also taking place around this time. Now, I have already done an entire dedicated video to Shallow Books where I go into detail about the fan-made fake promo campaign, so I highly recommend going over to watch that video for the full story, because as usual I tell the story hilariously. But just to provide a brief overview to mark the event for this video, in order to help promote the single, Little Monsters began to share a fake promotion for Starbucks titled Shallow Books, which claimed that if users streamed Shallow and posted about it on social media, they would receive a free Starbucks drink. This faux promotion went viral and spawned other similar Stan Twitter scams, but as I say, I go into more detail about the fan promotion in the video, so it is definitely worth checking out. Also, just to clarify again, Shallow Books and #out for Shallow were not the reason why Shallow went number one. Name a middle-aged person who wasn't obsessed with it. Stupid Love. In late February 2020, almost 4 years after her previous album release, Lady Gaga released a song titled Stupid Love, which was the lead single from her then upcoming album Chromatica. Stupid Love was considered to be Gaga's return to pop music, with her last own official pop song being The Cure from 2017, and so Little Monsters were eager to make her return in pop era a success. Taking note from their previously viral Shallow Books, some Little Monsters attempted to create another fake Starbucks promotion. Okay guys, so I didn't know this was a thing, but if you stream Lady Gaga's new single Stupid Love, you can earn a free Starbucks drink. I just claimed mine and confirmed that the campaign is real. The promo is strong this era. #Stupid Love. Sorry for any confusion, but this is not a valid Starbucks offer. Like with Shallow Books, these fake screenshots of the promo looked incredibly realistic and were well designed, which added to the authenticity of the ploy. However, some fans, clearly over the Starbucks fake promo trend, decided to give the Starbucks customer support team a well-deserved break and began to create fake promotions for other brands. One fan shared images that appeared to show a series of posters for an Apple Stupid Love promotional campaign where people could receive a free pair of Apple AirPods Pro for simply streaming the song. This Apple campaign was fake and did not exist, but its credibility was again boosted by the professional appearance of the graphic, as well as other Little Monsters in the comments sharing images of Apple AirPods, claiming that they had won them via the campaign. And outside of the Twitter sphere, some Little Monsters took to promoting Stupid Love in their local area, with one fan leaving money, specifically 500 Philippine pesos notes, around their neighbourhood. But you may be wondering, how is leaving money scattered around on the floor promotion for Lady Gaga's Stupid Love? Well, because when an unsuspecting local reaches down to pick up the cash, they would open it to find out that it was in fact not 500 pesos, but was instead a small flyer convincing them to stream and buy the new song. I'm not convinced as to how effective this promo method would have been, given that a member of the public who thought they had found some money on the floor only to pick it up and realise that not only was it not money, it was actually encouraging them to spend money instead, would probably have been slightly irritated. But at least the person would now be aware of Gaga's new song. Rain on Me. 2 months following the release of Stupid Love, Lady Gaga released the next single from Chromatica, the song Rain on Me, which was a collaboration with Ariana Grande. For Rain on Me, there was another Shallow Books type fake promo created titled Game on Me, which incorrectly claimed that there was a chance of winning a Nintendo Switch if you streamed the song. Although this was a fairly popular fake promo that was shared around by stans, in my opinion, there wasn't really a defining fan promo attempt for Rain on Me, or at least that I can recall. However, a large aspect of the fan interaction / spreading of the song online was memes, so much so that it's worthy of a mention here. Throughout the entire Chromatica era, the Little Monsters poured out a large quantity of memes related to the album. This began with Stupid Love, however by the time Rain on Me was released, the meme production definitely ramped up. A large amount of these memes were images from SpongeBob, often edited to include the outfits that Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande wore in the Rain on Me music video. And there were loads of these, and I mean loads. Although some of these edits look like they had been made rather quickly, some of the memes churned out during this time did have some artistic merit to them, with an artist called Albert Castillo drawing an incredible recreation and interpretation of the SpongeBob Gaga Grande meme. Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande themselves also shared many of these memes in the build-up to the song and album's release, with Gaga herself using a meme of SpongeBob levitating to officially count down the hours to Chromatica's release, with SpongeBob adorning Gaga's outfit from a Chromatica visual that she had released a few days prior. And Gaga even returned to the SpongeBob memes 3 months following Chromatica's release for the release of The Dawn of Chromatica, a remix album of Chromatica. On the release day for the remix album, Gaga shared a mosaic of memes which included an image of Gary the Snail wearing the now infamous Chromatica jockstrap. The memes, although their effectiveness as promo is probably debatable, did act as promo, especially given that Gaga and Ariana used them in their posts for the song and album, so they do satisfy the rather lax criteria I have adopted to be considered fan promo and thus make the list. Chromatica. Following the release of Rain on Me, fans eagerly counted down to the release of Chromatica, as the album would be released only a week after Rain on Me on the 29th of May 2020. Now, a prominent concept that was often spotlighted throughout the entire Chromatica era was that Chromatica was a fictional place or world, which had its own lore, including cities, tribes, and even historical natural disasters. An emphasis was placed on people going through a portal and being taken on a journey to Chromatica when they were listening to the album, with Gaga at one point declaring that she lived on Chromatica now as Earth was cancelled. And as the era continued, so did this Chromatican journey. In the 2 weeks prior to the album's release, alongside the Rain on Me memes and promo, one fan created a Twitter account called United States of Chromatica. This account was a fan-run, non-Gaga affiliated account that would tweet as if they were an official government account for Chromatica and would announce news about the fictional planet. Jasmine Masters is the Chromatican press secretary and addresses the nation on behalf of Lady Gaga. The maximum capacity for venues/hotels is 100 because there could only be 100 people in a room on Chromatica. Ellen DeGeneres' visa application to Chromatica has been denied. The account gained a large amount of popularity on Twitter due to its funny tweets, and users were encouraged to message the account with their own suggestions for policies and laws in the United States of Chromatica. The account also gained a little bit of celebrity attention, with Iggy Azalea sharing one of the tweets that read, "Heterosexuality is legal on Chromatica, but not ideal." The United States of Chromatica account was so popular that it received some attention in the news, with many different news sites like Paper Magazine and Business Insider writing articles about the account that was attempting to expand the lore of the fictional planet. And one tweet that the account had made gained some media attention all on its own when it updated the residents of Chromatica about a near-traffic incident that took place on the planet. At FedEx help. This woman almost hit me while driving down my block, delivering packages for you. Hello, this is Lisa. I'm sorry to hear of this incident. Please DM me as much information as possible so that I can report this to the appropriate station. Another fan added that they had also allegedly suffered at the hands of this rogue masked FedEx worker, as the same woman had threw a package at their head and had called them the F word. The F word here obviously being Fun Tonight, the best track on Chromatica. Now, this image was obviously not of a FedEx driver and was instead an image Lady Gaga had posted of herself inside the Chromatica truck as she delivered the album to every single retailer across the globe. On Chromatica, time and distance do not exist. And although Lisa from FedEx seemingly fell for the prank tweet, she subsequently, and extremely briefly, found herself with a fanbase of her own. Lisa, we love you Lisa. Lisa, you're our queen. OMG, Lisa from Blackpink, yes queen. #Chromatica. And other Gaga fans attempted to coax FedEx Lisa to join them on Chromatica. This particular interaction from the United States of Chromatica gained a truly shocking amount of news coverage, with articles being written purely for this two-tweet interaction. And I know I can't really talk, but I think it must have been a bit of a slow news day. And although the United States of Chromatica account was probably just a little bit of fun, with the multitude of Chromatica and Lady Gaga related headlines and articles it spawned at the time, the account was, perhaps inadvertently, a great fan promotional device for the album's release. Chromatica, the album, went on to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200 chart and remained on the chart for 41 weeks. ARTPOP Act 2 and 10 years of ARTPOP. For this one, we have to first go back in time to 2013 for some context. Prior to the release of Lady Gaga's 2013 album ARTPOP, when asked whether she had started to plan for the album following ARTPOP, Lady Gaga said, yes, lots of songs for Act 2. The concept of an ARTPOP Act 2 was consistently brought up throughout the entire ARTPOP era by both fans and Lady Gaga herself, and in a 2014 interview, Lady Gaga seemingly confirmed the existence of an Act 2.
So maybe one day I'll release them. And yeah, I have a whole second active art pop, I do. And I love it.
Now, the extent to what an Act 2 of ARTPOP existed, whether just concept, a few songs or a completed album, is still unknown to this day. But as you can imagine, the potential existence of a secret vaulted album from Lady Gaga eats some little monsters up inside. Fast forward to 2021. Since its release, ARTPOP has always had a dedicated cult-like following within the Lady Gaga fandom, with these fans advocating for justice for ARTPOP, as the album sort of has this strange aura where it's viewed as underrated and almost a flop album, despite the fact it is certified platinum. I think this view mainly spawns from the slightly messy ARTPOP era where many things that were planned didn't come to fruition, as well as the whole Katy Perry v Gaga media frenzy. Because of this, ARTPOP fans rabidly champion the album. In 2021, the hunger for this mystic second act very much still remained amongst these ARTPOP groupies, and after one of the album's producers, DJ White Shadow, mentioned a rumoured song from the unreleased album in an April Fool's post, fans decided to create a petition for the release of the album, which went on to gain over 56,000 signatures. Now, the whole ARTPOP Act 2 petition era deserves a video in and of itself, but in regard to fan promo, the resurgence of the rumoured ARTPOP Act 2 led to a resurgence of the original ARTPOP itself. Yep, that was all context. In early April 2021, in tandem with the spreading of the petition, Little Monsters began to mass share the hashtag #BuyArtPop on iTunes. As the Gaga-obsessed troops rallied, sharing both posts and IRL posters encouraging people to both buy the album and sign the petition, ARTPOP started to trend on Twitter and did so many times over the days that followed the petition. The album then began to climb many iTunes charts around the world and eventually began to reach the #1 spot in countries like France, Germany, Argentina and Brazil. Due to the viral nature of this ARTPOP promo/campaigning/promo campaign from the fans, on the 13th of April 2021, Lady Gaga herself acknowledged the Little Monsters doing the promo, tweeting, "The petition to #BuyArtPop on iTunes for a volume 2 has inspired such a tremendous warmth in my heart. Making this album was like heart surgery. I was desperate, in pain, and poured my heart into electronic music that slammed harder than any drug I could find. I fell apart after the release of this album. Thank you for celebrating something that once felt like destruction. We always believed it was ahead of its time. Years later turns out, sometimes artists know, and so do Little Monsters." Pause up. Following Gaga's thanks to the fans for still loving ARTPOP, on the 14th of April 2021, the next day, ARTPOP went to #1 on the worldwide iTunes charts over 7 years after its release. Lady Gaga's acknowledgement tweets of ARTPOP, and more specifically the ARTPOP Act 2 petition, was for most Little Monsters the end of their Act 2 campaigning efforts and acted as a sort of closure. However, the Little Monster love and promo for ARTPOP didn't end there, as in 2023, ARTPOP was having its 10-year anniversary. 10 years of ARTPOP. And with fans, I suspect, just happy to have an official excuse to promote the album, started to promote it once again, with one particular group of dedicated ARTPOP devotees banding together to create this. This is a video billboard advertisement celebrating 10 years of art pop, as well as encouraging people to stream the album, and this billboard is in none other than Times Square in New York City. This advert used spliced together footage of Gaga from the art pop era, and despite looking incredibly professional and legit, even making some little monsters question whether it was official, it was in fact just a fan-made project paid for by fans. And this billboard wasn't the only fan-made promo project that tricked some fans at the time, when the account Big Pink Energy shared on both TikTok and Twitter that she had found some Heinz soup cans in their local supermarket that were art pop themed. Some little monsters believed that this was actually an official collaboration with Heinz and even went to their local store to try and find the art pop soup. And I know you might be confused as to why so many people would readily believe that these soups were official and real, even momentarily, but given that art pop is the inverse of the pop art movement, you know, Andy Warhol, soup cans, the plausibility of soup being an art pop 10-year anniversary brand collab wasn't really too far out of the realm of possibility. But it being Jules and Drugs flavoured, even if a reference to an art pop song, definitely decreased its believability, or at least should have. The art pop soup can, its tweets and TikToks were well shared within the fandom, as people were eager to see how or whether the 10-year anniversary would be acknowledged. Officially, art pop's 10-year anniversary was marked with a merch collection on Lady Gaga's online store featuring t-shirts, bags and hoodies. Unfortunately, there was no art pop soup available for purchase. Fingers crossed for the 20 years of art pop collection. Love for Sale. On the 3rd of August 2021, Lady Gaga announced that she, alongside legendary jazz singer Tony Bennett, would be releasing a jazz album titled Love for Sale in October of that year. Gaga and Bennett had previously collaborated on their album Cheek to Cheek back in 2014, and Love for Sale was a follow-up album in the same genre. And although jazz isn't the genre that most little monsters are likely to listen to on a daily basis, because Love for Sale was a Lady Gaga album, the promo began. The soccer mum fake account trend from the Perfect Illusion era still held a special place in the hearts of many little monsters, and so, for the release of Love for Sale, fans brought the trend back. However, this time, instead of soccer mums, they were old people. Tony Bennett, in company of this beautiful girl called Lady Gaga, delivered an amazing jazz with #LoveForSale. Now I get why my grandson spends so much time alone in his room listening to this woman. He is a jazz fan just like his granny. Just when last night's party at Bertha's house started to get a wee bit boring, I got this idea of playing #LoveForSale by Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga on my record player, and it turned into a ball. Here's a snap of Bessie and Theodore reliving their youth. I was too busy listening to the new album by Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett, Love for Sale, I completely lost track of the road. Can't get the tunes out of my head. We don't know if Charlie will make it. These fake old people accounts often pretended to be old Tony Bennett fans, seemingly in an attempt to encourage real Tony Bennett fans to buy the album and to get a boost in sales from the older general public, a presumably untapped customer base for Gaga's usual album releases. Although my grandma bought art pop on its release day, so the fake granny accounts did gain some attention online. However, from what I could find, not as much as the previous identity adoptions did. However, it was enough attention that it was picked up by the Music Times, who wrote an article questioning the validity of these old people accounts and the sudden surge in geriatric support for the main pop girls. Aside from the old people accounts for the Love for Sale era, the Little Monsters also seized any promo opportunity that they felt came their way, as on the 4th of October 2021, 3 days after the album's release, Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp went down. It's relevant, I promise. Like when any major social media site goes down, people flock to Twitter, provided that's not the site that's down, to make sure it isn't only happening to them. Once congregated on Twitter, people share the usual rush into Twitter type memes that were probably funny the first 10 times they were posted. And due to this outage and the subsequent online turmoil, these down social social media sites shared statements on their pages. Kind of. We apologise for the issues some WhatsApp users are experiencing. We are working on resolving these issues. In the meantime, we recommend listening to Love for Sale, the new album by Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett. If it wasn't obvious already, these accounts were little monsters who were attempting to take advantage of the influx in Twitter users, so they changed their profiles to resemble these downed social media sites and issued apologies and recommendations to listen to the new Gaga album. This impersonation was brief, as the site was only down for around 7 hours, but still worth mentioning in this video. Love for Sale debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Jazz Albums chart and stayed there for 3 weeks and spent a total of 47 weeks on the chart. The album would be Tony Bennett's final album before his passing in July of 2023. Hold My Hand. On the 27th of April 2022, Lady Gaga announced that on the 3rd of May, her new single, titled Hold My Hand, would be released, which was essentially the new theme song for the new Top Gun movie, Top Gun Maverick. The film, in my opinion, and perhaps this is me unfairly stereotyping, is kind of outside of the general interests of the core rabid Little Monster standom. However, because Lady Gaga was involved with the creation of the movie's soundtrack, the Little Monsters put their marketing hats on. Now, for those unfamiliar with the Top Gun movies, the franchise is very heavily military orientated, with the main character being a member of the US Navy who flies around in planes. And so, still inspired by their Perfect Illusion Soccer Mum era, the Little Monsters adopted a new identity to promote the song, Military Wives. The Little Monsters soon began encouraging each other to switch their Love for Sale elderly accounts to Military Wives to promote the upcoming release of Hold My Hand. Watching her movie The Shallows and loving it so far. My first husband was from Arizona. Love the true American spirit, but I'm more excited for the new Top Gun film for which Gaga made a song, #Hold My Hand. Y'all, my husband is deployed in Kansas right now, and he said Lady Gaga visited them to sing her new song for Top Gun. She is such a patriot. Can't wait to show my beautiful children such a great American spirit. You go, Gaga. I always loved Lady, but now that I know she worships Jesus, I love her even more. Cannot wait for Hold My Hand. Hope it's a Christian ballad. #lol. Both prior and following the single's release, tweets from fake military wives or mothers began to be shared, trying to encourage other people who shared the same sort of values as the fake persona that they had created to listen to the song. These fake personas often tweeted about how much they missed their fake husband while they were away doing military things, but these fake wives would also be ecstatic knowing that their husband would be conveniently coming home just in time to see Top Gun Maverick in cinemas. That's Top Gun Maverick in cinemas. Some of these tweets also included images of Lady Gaga wearing camo from a video she shared in 2020, encouraging people to vote in the election, because this video fits the military vibe and aesthetic. And although many of these tweets weren't far off what you'd find in certain Facebook comment sections, many Little Monsters did share more glaringly satirical posts on these fake military wife accounts. The primary reason for these frequent mass adoptions of new identities by the Little Monsters is to promote any new Gaga project. But in my opinion, a large reason for their apparent eagerness to adopt these different characters is because they just find it fun. One interaction, when one of these fake military adjacent mothers had shared an image of their fake military son and then received a classy reply, has frequently been uploaded by a variety of meme pages, with most probably unaware of the phony nature of the account and the Little Monster context. These more humorous and less promo-focused interactions show, as I said earlier in the video, that these fake persona acquisitions that the Little Monsters love to do are sort of like an extracurricular, fun little activity for them, a field trip, if you will, that they are having fun doing, rightly or wrongly. The song Hold My Hand peaked at number 49 on the Billboard charts, but the movie Top Gun Maverick grossed over $1.4 billion at the box office, and as Gaga was credited as one of the composers on the movie's soundtrack, it made Lady Gaga the highest grossing female composer of all time, with just one movie. Heavy metal lover. In November 2023, Lady Gaga's song Heavy Metal Lover began to go viral on TikTok. Heavy Metal Lover was a non-single track on Gaga's 2011 album Born This Way, and 12 years later, due to this resurgence, the song's streams began to dramatically increase on Spotify to the highest numbers it had ever received. This song, however, was not the first time an older Lady Gaga song had a new wave of popularity thanks to TikTok, with her song Bloody Mary, also from the Born This Way album, having received a resurgence in late 2022 thanks to the Wednesday TikTok dance trend. Bloody Mary went on to be extremely popular and was even subsequently released as a single in some countries 10 years after its original release, and the song is consistently within Gaga's top 10 most streamed songs daily. So, when Heavy Metal Lover started to gain traction on TikTok, the Little Monsters were eager to try and recreate that viral Bloody Mary moment, and so the antics began. I fear for us when BTS's stans find this song and that specific lyric. Listen, I know I'm a little monster and have been for a long time, but something that makes me uncomfortable is Heavy Metal Lover. Once I started paying attention to the background, particularly during the chorus. I don't know how y'all listen, or are y'all not recognising it? And from these tweets you may be wondering, what exactly is hidden in the lyrics of the song that is so egregious that even Gaga's own fans are offended by it? Nothing. The egregious lyric doesn't exist. Heavy Metal Lover's only crime is being an absolute bop. Many Little Monsters posted vague tweets about the supposed offensive nature of the song in order to trick people into streaming the song to see these offensive lyrics for themselves. Some Little Monsters also claimed in the comments that it took them several listens to hear the controversial part of the song, a ploy to encourage those who had checked out the song and were confused about the lack of said offensive lyric to stream it again. The faux outrage strategy gained enough attention that it was picked up by Business Insider, who covered the story in a surprisingly non-serious and jovial tone. Lady Gaga's fans are making up lies. Over the next few months, Heavy Metal Lover continued to grow in streams and popularity, with it eventually having its highest ever streaming day in January of 2024. And so it seems that when you make timeless music, there is always something for your fans to promote, without you asking them to, probably without you wanting them to, and possibly without you even knowing. 2. Although fan promotion is extremely common and is present in most online fan communities, especially those music and stan Twitter related, the Little Monsters, with their efforts over the years, are definitely notorious for their innovative fan promo efforts, sometimes referred to as the blueprint by both other stan groups and themselves. And due to the often creative yet questionable nature of these efforts, they have managed to attract the attention of news sites all over the world, gaining themselves a perhaps slightly unhinged reputation. And the Little Monsters are seemingly now so notorious with their dedicated promo attempts that recently, after stans got the hashtag Lady Gaga is missing trending because she hadn't posted online for a while, it was reported that the hashtag and posts were promotion for Gaga's upcoming single Missing, which isn't real. Gaga has no song called Missing, at least for now. And with Lady Gaga recently releasing a flurry of new projects, it appears that the Little Monsters have plenty promotion to be doing, hopefully ethically, that will keep them busy for a good while. And finally, with this video having gone through so many Lady Gaga eras, songs, albums and movies, you really should be asking yourself, was this entire video just another elaborate scheme to promote Lady Gaga carried out by a little monster? Who knows? Me, I do. It was never the intention.
But it looks an awful lot like that, doesn't it?
Special thanks to Gaga Daily and their team, in particular Chica, for their help. Another special thanks to Antonique on Twitter for pointing me in the right direction. Thanks for watching this incredibly long video. If you liked it, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this one in the future.